The noble sport of pigeon racing threatened by unethical doping. Pigeon racing is a storied sport with origins dating back thousands of years. Part science, part art, raising and training racing pigeons takes dedication, patience, and a deep appreciation of the innate abilities of these remarkable birds. For most participants, seeing their pigeon achieve a top race speed through proper diet, housing, training, and care is a point of pride and joy. However, a minority of unscrupulous racers are threatening to taint the integrity of this noble sport through the unethical practice of doping. Doping refers to illegally administering drugs and other illicit substances to try to enhance racing performance. But in reality, most doping agents do little if anything to improve speed or stamina in pigeons. Worse, they inflict tremendous harm to the bird's health and disrupt the core values of fair play central to pigeon racing. Strict prohibitions and vigilant testing are necessary to combat this threat before it irrevocably corrupts the sport. The welfare of the birds and future of this beloved pastime depend on removing doping from pigeon racing. A long history of skill and beauty. Humans have been racing pigeons for over 2,000 years, with the earliest accounts tracing to ancient Rome. Selective breeding over millennia has produced pigeon breeds like the racing homer that exhibit an innate desire to return home swiftly from long distances. This homing instinct, combined with aerial skills honed through proper training, are the cornerstones of success. Pigeon racing therefore tests the abilities of the trainer as much as the bird itself. The timelessness of releasing a flock homeward bound is part of the allure. Races can vary from roughly 100 to 600 miles, taking anywhere from a few hours to a day depending on the distance and weather. Following release at the start, initial velocities of 60 miles per hour or more have been recorded as the birds surge skyward. Top speeds are around 90 miles per hour descending and 50 to 60 miles per hour when cruising. Throughout history, champion birds have been prized and cared for like heroes. Their spirited nature and heart in the face of grueling tests of endurance continue to capture the imagination. Fair play undermined by unethical doping. Sadly, some competitors cannot resist trying to cheat rather than win fairly. Doping is the administration of prohibited substances with aims of enhancing oxygen intake, reducing fatigue, controlling weight, dulling pain, or other illicit effects. However, most drugs have limited performance benefits if any, while seriously compromising the bird's health. And even the slightest edge artificially gained through drugs destroys the spirit of honest competition that defines pigeon racing. Substances abused include stimulants, narcotics, bronchodilators, corticosteroids, nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, and even antibiotics. Racing pigeons are also sometimes injected with blood taken from other birds, an unethical and dangerous practice. Any benefit comes at the cost of the donor bird's well-being. The multitude of doping options signals how far some competitors will go to fabricate an advantage. Fans and officials widely condemn doping as cheating. But some participants insist that everyone does it or they are just leveling the playing field. This cynical attitude perpetuates harm against innocent birds who never asked to be mistreated for human glory or greed. The victims of doping also include honest competitors racing clean who are denied due recognition. Only vigorous oversight and penalties can protect the sport's integrity in the face of such disregard for principles. Health risks to racing pigeons. Doping apologists claim they are not harming their birds. But ample research shows most doping agents inflict significant damage. Racing pigeons are endangered both in the short and long term by drugs given recklessly in the name of competition. The dangers are evident across categories of prohibited substances. Corticosteroids. These anti-inflammatory drugs like dexamethasone are sometimes prescribed short-term by veterinarians for legitimate medical needs. However, abuse for racing poses multiple risks. Immune suppression leading to illnesses. Gastrointestinal, kidney, and liver damage. Reduced bone density and muscle loss. Impaired healing of injuries. Altered fat deposits and feather abnormalities. The immune dampening effects directly counter athletic goals by depriving birds of natural protections against sickness. Nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories, NSAIDs. NSAIDs such as flunixin, meloxicam, and diclofenac reduce pain and swelling. But the side effects make them unsuitable for racing. Stomach ulcers and internal bleeding. Kidney and liver failure. Blood clotting dysfunction. Adverse interactions with other drugs. Masking pain with NSAIDs allows injured birds to race when rest and recovery are needed instead. This compounds damage. Stimulants, agents like caffeine, amphetamines, and cocaine aim to reduce fatigue and hunger while increasing alertness. However, risks include dehydration and electrolyte disorders, abnormal and dangerous heart rhythms, tremors, restlessness, and seizures, immune impairment and adrenal exhaustion, Pushing already tiring birds beyond natural limits through artificial stimulants is irresponsible and unethical. Narcotics, drugs like butorphanol are sometimes prescribed by veterinarians to relieve pain. But allowing their use enables sore, sick, and weakened birds to compete when they should be healing. The exertion of racing can expand hidden injuries and illnesses. Narcotics also delay proper diagnosis and care. Beta blockers, while not technically stimulants, beta blockers including propranolol affect the heart and nerves. Attempting to slow heart rate in already stressed racers could have dire consequences. Overall reduced heart function. Dangerously low blood pressure. Impaired circulation and oxygen delivery. Masking of underlying cardiac issues. Increased risk of heart failure if combined with other drugs. Any tiny potential gains come at too high a risk given the cardiotoxic effects. In summary, purported benefits of increased performance or pain relief are outweighed by the threat to health across categories of doping agents. Racing enthusiasts argue that many prohibited substances are approved for use in pets, livestock, or people. However, pigeon physiology differs and has unique sensitivities that make extrapolation of safety and efficacy invalid. What little research exists confirms doping provides no competitive advantage while severely jeopardizing the birds. Ethical concerns of pigeon doping. Beyond health impacts, the practice of doping raises ethical questions about human intentions and the status of racing pigeons themselves. Those who dope justify it through arguments that can be challenged on moral grounds. Doping helps the birds perform their best. Doping apologists claim they only want what is best for their birds. But given the lack of performance benefits and ample evidence of harm, this rings hollow. It rationalizes abusive practices as good intentions. Only small doses are used. Even low doses of many doping agents accumulate over time with damaging effects. And the lack of proper clinical trials means any dose in pigeons should be considered unsafe. It is unethical to test the limits of birds for one's own gain. The ends justify the means. Cheaters argue that winning is ultimately all that matters even if rules are broken. But competition premised on deceit and harm lack meaning or value. Victories achieved immorally signify nothing beyond egoism. Pigeons are just property. This attitude reduces pigeons to objects existing solely for human exploitation. But pigeons have an intrinsic worth and capacity to suffer beyond what they provide people. They deserve moral obligations of care independent of racing goals. These rationalizations all share a willingness to put competition above the fundamental well-being of birds. If doping contradicts the very health and nature of pigeons, its practice is unethical regardless of its effectiveness. The animals under human care must take priority over ambitions for status or profit. Preserving integrity in pigeon racing. For the sport to have meaning and longevity, vigilant regulation is needed to curb doping and honor the contract between pigeon and handler. Owners wishing to race must be made to understand they are entering a partnership built on trust and responsible care. Several reforms can help preserve integrity. Ban all unapproved medications and supplements. Over-the-counter drugs should undergo clinical tests on pigeons before allowance. Untested substances have unknown interactions and effects. Institute regular blood and unannounced testing. Suspicion alone should justify testing. Standardized protocols will detect unknown agents over time as analytical methods improve. Lifetime bans for offenders will deter reoffending. Promote values of honesty and horsemanship. Celebrate positive examples of trainers succeeding through skill and diligent care. Make clear that doping will never be tolerated as necessary or just part of the sport. Increase oversight and whistleblower rewards. Hidden misconduct is easier to perpetrate and overlook. Improved surveillance of training spaces and incentives for witnesses will aid enforcement and reform efforts. Apply consistent sanctions across racing societies. Disparate punishment allows banned trainers to race under less stringent organizations. Universal condemnation is required. Pigeon racing arose from a purpose higher than winning alone, testing the bounds of an animal partner worthy of respect. By pulling together under a renewed pledge to protect pigeon welfare, the sport can filter out elements that value competitive success over honor. Let pigeons race as nature intended, powered by will rather than chemicals. When healthy birds are cared for properly, their hearts and wings will show the world all that pigeon racing can be. Get my main racing system, just email me direct. I'm an experienced ex-pigeon racer from England, and I can offer valuable insights and guidance on all aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to racing. During my racing days, I managed a small team of no more than 70 pigeons, including stock, young birds, and old birds. It was not uncommon for me to send as few as 6 birds to a race and still secure the top 3 positions out of up to 2,500 pigeons in my club and federation. My race distances typically ranged up to 300 miles, and I consistently achieved top 5 placements in my club. My expertise extends to the art of selecting excellent breeders, including evaluating pigeons based on their eye-sign characteristics. I firmly believe that true champions can only be bred from top quality stock, and I can guide you in identifying and acquiring such pigeons. I understand that many pigeons for sale are advertised based on their lineage or pedigree, but I emphasize the importance of assessing the bird itself rather than relying solely on paperwork. As part of my offer, I invite you to share photos of your pigeons, including their eye sign and wing characteristics. I'll provide you with free advice on racing and breeding based on my extensive experience and knowledge. Additionally, I will share auction links to high-quality breeding birds that have the potential to produce winners in your loft. Here's what you can expect to receive from me. A comprehensive Word document containing valuable insights and strategies for successful pigeon racing, including specific racing methods for both old and young birds, as well as general advice. Private YouTube videos sent to your email, covering various aspects of pigeon racing, from breeding to race preparation. Detailed recommendations on supplements and additives to add to your pigeon's drinking water, with scientific evidence supporting their effectiveness. Similar products are used by professional athletes and racehorses to enhance performance. Assurance that your pigeons will race home faster, provided that you have quality birds to begin with.